All right, so here is the key to the Geometry Unit 10 review for question number 1. It says the diagram below shows quadrilateral ABCD. It's pictured here. What is the measure of DCA? So DCA is this highlighted angle in the bottom right. So what I need to do is, I know that the sum of the measures of quadrilaterals is 360. So I have to add all these up and set them equal to 360. So once I totaled everything, I got 7x plus 10 equals 360. Do a little bit of algebra to find that x equals 50. Now, I'm not done here because it wants the measurement of DCA, so I need to plug 50 in where x is. 50 minus 10 is 40. So that's the answer to number 1. It's the same process for number 2. It's a quadrilateral. It wants the measure of each and every interior angle. Since it's a quadrilateral, I know that the sum of the interior angles is 360 again. So once I added everything up, I get 7x plus 10 equals 360. Solve for x, and I get 50 again. Now what I need to do with this 50 is plug it into each of these expressions. So obviously angle M is 50. 3 times 50 minus 20, that's going to give me angle K, that's 130. 2 times 50 plus 15, that's angle J, is 115. 50 plus 15 is 65. Angle 3, or number 3, it says find the measurement of angle G, which is pictured right here, in the kite. Now remember, in a kite, there's only one pair of opposite angles that are congruent to each other. Obviously, it's not J and H because one is 75 and one is 85. So I know these two must be congruent to each other. So I just called them X because we don't know what it is. I do know it's a quadrilateral, so the sum of the interior angles has to add up to 360. So I added everything up. When I do that and solve for x, I should get x equals 100. It's asking me for angle G. G is just x, so it is 100 degrees. Same process for number 4. I know that these two are congruent to each other because kites have one set of opposite congruent angles. So I labeled those both x, added them all up to 360, and I got x equals 127. It asked me for angle D, which is just x, so that is 127 degrees. All right, number 5. In this Venn diagram, which of the following statements is false? So if I look at this Venn diagram, it tells me quite a bit of information. It tells me that a square is a rectangle, a square is a rhombus, a square is a parallelogram, a square is also a quadrilateral. So that is how you read this Venn diagram. So let's figure out which one is false. A square is a rectangle, that's true. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral, that's true. A quadrilateral is a rectangle. Quadrilateral is not always a rectangle. It can sometimes, so that would be your false one. But a square is also a rhombus, so that is true. So our answer is H. Number 6, list the properties that prove that ABCD is a parallelogram. You can pause this video and you can write these down. These are also in your notes. Number 7, it says, which of the following geometric figures? Okay, so for the following geometric figure, each angle is labeled with its measure. What's the measure of the largest angle? So it's looking at the exterior angles on this figure, and remember that exterior angles all add up to 360. So what you have to do is add all of these up, equals 360, and solve for x. Now I'm not quite done here. It asks me what is the measure of the largest angle. So what I would do is I would have to plug this 10 in to each and every one of these angles, but I can easily spot that this 13x plus 10 is going to be the biggest one. So I would say 13 times 10 plus 10, that's going to be 130 plus 10, which is 140 degrees. So my largest angle is 140 degrees. All right, number 8, it's the same kind of process. It gives you some exterior angles and it says to find the value of y. So all exterior angles, they have a sum of 360. So I would add all of these up and set it equal to 360, solve for y, and I get y is 125 degrees. So number 9 is a bit wordy. Let me take you through the options. It says, which of the following statements is true? A square is a rhombus if and only if its diagonals are congruent. Well, in a rhombus, the diagonals are not congruent, so that one would be false. All right. Rhombus, their diagonals bisect each other, but they are not congruent. Same for our option B. It says a parallelogram is a rhombus if and only if its diagonals are congruent. Again, they are not congruent. All right, a quadrilateral is a trapezoid if and only if it is a rhombus and a rectangle. That's just false. A rhombus is not a trapezoid and a rectangle is not a trapezoid. So that's completely false. And D, a quadrilateral is a rectangle if and only if it has 4 right angles. This is true. All right, and the justification is if you have a 4-sided figure that has all 90-degree angles, it is a rectangle. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what about a square? A square is a rectangle, so this is still true. Number 10, let's see, the diagonals of rectangle ABCD intersect at point M if AC, this diagonal here, and BM right here, is x plus 7. What is the length of AC? Draw a picture. And I'm just realizing I made a mistake right here. So it says BM equals x plus 7, x plus 7. Let's change that to BD. BD. All right, so that way the whole thing is equal to x plus 7. All right, so when I do that, the whole thing is x plus 7. I know that those two are going to be congruent to each other because the diagonals of rectangles are congruent to each other. And so let me change this to BD. That was my mistake. Set them equal to each other and solve for x, and I would get x is equal to 7. All right, and so once I get x is equal to 7, then I would plug that back into AC. 4 times 7 is 28 minus 14. That is 14. All right, if you wanted to know what the actual answer would be without the mistake, let me show you what to do. So if they gave us AC is equal to 4x minus 14, and BM, like it states, is x plus 7. I'm going to redraw the rectangle here. A, B, C, and D. The diagonals intersect at point M. So that means BM is x plus 7. I'm going to label that x plus 7 here. And AC from here to here is 4x minus 14. So the way we would figure this one out is I know that from B to M, it is half of the diagonal. And so I would have to set up an equation where BM is half of AC. So BM is equal to 1/2 of AC. Or you could also say 2 times BM is AC, because 2 times this will give us the entire diagonal. I'm going to go with this formula here because less fractions. So let's set it up. 2 times BM, which is x plus 7, equals AC, which is 4x minus 14. Distribute, and you get 2x plus 14 equals 4x minus 14. Subtract the 2x, and I get 14 equals 2x minus 14. All right, simplify, and you should get 28 equals 2x. X is equal to 14. So x equals 14. It wants me to find the length of AC. So I'm going to plug that 14 back into here to find AC. Plug x equals 14 in. 4 times 14 minus 14. So I have to do 4 times 14. Let me pull out a calculator. 4 times 14 is 56 minus 14. And AC would equal 42. All right. So again, I apologize for that error. I've got the incorrect solution up top and the correct solution with the new drawing right here. So you can pause the video and you can work it out yourself and look at both solutions. What I did on the first time, it's a common error. I set them equal to each other. So I went ahead with that and then I reworked it correctly. All right. Number 11, it tells us to find the measure of each exterior angle of a regular dodecagon. Regular is all the angles are equal to each other, and it's 12 sides, 12 angles. Remember, the sum of exterior angles is 360, so I would do 360 divided by 12. That gives me 30. Each exterior angle is equal to 30 degrees. All right. Number 12, you can pause the video and see that it's irregular and concave. I have the definitions over here. All right, number 13, it's a parallelogram. It says, so I know that opposite angles are congruent to each other, so I set up two equations. I set up 2x plus 15 equals 3x minus 1, solved for x, and I got 16. 56 equals 11y minus 10, and I got y equals 6. For number 14, it wants us to find RSW. RSW is this little piece right here. It gives us RST. The whole thing is 67, so I divide it by 2 since the diagonals bisect the angles. 67 divided by 2 is 33.5. 15, they give you the little piece and they want you to find the whole angle ABC. So it gives us ABE is 58. It wants ABC, so I just do 2 times 58. That is 116. All right, 16 is all about trapezoid mid-segment theorem. Remember the formula for that is top plus bottom divided by 2 gives you the mid-segment. So I want to find MO. I don't know what it is, so I can call it X. So X plus 16, top plus bottom, divided by 2 equals 10. Do a little algebra and you get X equals 4. To find LQP, that's this pink angle right here, I have to remember that it's a quadrilateral on the bottom. So 360 minus the angles that I do know is that pink angle right there. Do a subtraction problem and you get LQP is 120. Same for the blue one up top. Angles 17, or number 17 and 18, it's the same process. First, I have to find the sum of the interior angles by n minus 2 times 180. When I do that, remember n is the number of sides. Sum is going to equal to 720. I add all of these up. They equal 720. Simplify, and I get x equals 70. Same process for number 18. N minus 2 times 180. Well, there's 5 sides. 5 minus 2 is 3, times 180 is 540. Add them all up and they equal 540. Solve for x and you should get x equals 20.